everyone, and welcome to Simply Made Homestead. I'm Marian, and today I'm going to show you how to make soft, delicious, homemade sourdough cinnamon rolls. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love to have you with us here on the homestead. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And guys, give us a big old thumbs up if you enjoy this video, okay? We really would appreciate it. Now, to start with today, we are going to be using a kitchen scale and measuring everything in grams. So it's just much more precise, and when it comes to baking, precision is very important. So today we're starting with, and it's cold butter, cold milk, but we have 160 grams of whole milk, and I have 115 grams of unsalted butter. So what we're going to do, we need the butter melted, the milk warmed up. So I'm going to stick it in the microwave, and I'm only going to do it now. It's really, really cold. So I'm going to stick it in there for 30 seconds first, and then I'll stir it around because we just want it to melt, so the butter will melt and the milk will be nice and warm, and because we don't want it too hot. And in my butter, guys, I cut it into little cubes, and that way it'll melt faster and more evenly. Now you can take it at 15-second intervals if you like. I'm going for 30. I think I'll be fine. All right. So now all the butter is melted. That one measuring cup is just the right size. All right, now it's really warm still. So you can kind of stir it because we do want it to kind of cool down a little bit before we add it to our mixture that we're going to do next. So you can kind of stir it and release some of that heat. All right, next we are going to add 100 grams. I'm using a stand-up mixer. You can use a hand mixer. If you don't have a stand-up mixer, it's not a big deal. And I am going to grab a spatula out of here. So I've zeroed out my scale. Always zero it out before you measure. Put your bowl or whatever you're using on there first and zero it out. And we're going to do, man, it's all trying to come out at one time. Yeah, I knew that was more than 100 grams. You want to make sure that your sourdough starter is well fed, which means you want to feed it, like if you've had it in the fridge or on the counter, wherever you've had it. If it's in the fridge, take it out, let it come to room temperature, and then give it a feeding. And I like to give it two. I like to give it 2 feedings before I use it. All right, so now we can add it right here into the thing because I've already got my sugar measured. We're going to add 24 grams of sugar and 1 large egg. And I happen to have a duck egg, so it's really nice and large, into my compost bowl. All right, now that we have 100 grams of starter, 24 grams of sugar, and 1 large egg in our mixing bowl, we're going to put on our paddle attachment, and we're just going to mix it up. But we want it to mix really well. All right, so that is well combined, as you can see in this picture here. I'm just going to scrape it off the bottom and make sure everything is off the bottom there. Okay. Now that I did that, I'm just going to give it one more quick whirl. Now we need to turn it down to a slow speed because we are going to add our butter and milk mixture. So you'll just slowly add it into the mixture. I like to bring it up as much as I can without it splattering so it can really start mixing in there. And you want it to go slow because you have an egg that we've added in there with our sugar, and the milk is still warm, and you know how fast eggs can cook. So if you add just a little bit at a time, it tempers your egg and sugar mixture in there, and that way you don't cook your egg. The last thing you want are bits of cooked egg in your cinnamon rolls. So that looks really good. So there we go, just like that. All right, so next we're going to add our flour and our salt. But I am going to take this off of the mixer so that way I can weigh my flour. All right, so here we're going to add 300. I have to look at my notes, guys, because I don't remember. You know, I want to make sure I'm right. We want 360 grams of flour. I have all-purpose flour. I love King Arthur, y'all. It's unbleached. It's just a really good quality flour. So you do want to use a good quality flour, whichever you prefer. And we have 5 grams of salt. Okay. We're just going to stick it back on the mixer. Add our paddle attachment back on, and we're just going to mix it for only about a minute. Just enough to get everything incorporated. So I'm going to put it on about 2 on the mixer. All right, so it is well combined. And you see that literally, I don't even think it took a minute. Pretty sure it didn't. But we do want to scrape all of our dough off of the spatula. You can see in the picture right here what it looks like. It's very moist and very shaggy. Next, we are going to take a tea towel or whatever you have. You don't want to seal it. You don't want to use like cling wrap or anything like that. Just a nice thin towel. Just drape it over the top, and we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes. But what the 30 minutes is for, it really allows the flour to fully absorb all of the water. And so this is what it looks like now. You see that? Yep, it looks pretty much the same. All right, y'all, so the dough has rested for 30 minutes, which means it has had lots of time, plenty of time for that flour to really absorb all of that water. That's what that 30 minutes is for. So we're going to put it back in the mixer. And this time we're going to add a dough hook. And it is a very moist dough still. We've got a lot of butter in there, which just makes it even yummier. Okay, and we're going to put it on number 2 on the mixer. And we're going to let it knead for 6 to 8 minutes. Now, while this is mixing or kneading, get you a medium-sized bowl and make sure you just coat the bowl with a little butter and have a little piece of cling wrap that we're going to put over the bowl. Because once this is done, we'll transfer it into this bowl. All right, y'all, so you got your bowl, just lightly buttered. You don't need it heavily buttered, lightly buttered. And this is what the dough looks like. You see how it's pulled away from the sides? I ran mine for 7 minutes. And it just kind of came into a ball. It's not a firm ball, still it's very soft. Like I said, very soft dough. And then we're just going to scrape it out of our mixing bowl. There it is. And into our buttered bowl. Cover it with saran wrap and into the refrigerator for at least 12 hours. There you go. Got our dough in our medium-sized bowl, covered in saran wrap, covered in cling wrap, and now we're just going to stick it in the refrigerator and let it sit there overnight, and in the morning will be time to roll up our cinnamon rolls. For the next step is the fun step. We need to take our dough out of the refrigerator. I have mine right here. It's super, super cold. I'm going to put some flour on the counter here. Now you need your dough scraper, a rolling pin, some flour, and your dough. Now guys, if you would like a printable version of this recipe, you can go to simplymadehomestead.com, just like our YouTube channel, and you will be able to find it there. Lord have mercy, that thing is in there. Wonder if Andrew turned the refrigerator down some. It was good and cold. Scrape up all that lovely goodness that was left in the bowl. Stick it in your dough, or you can eat it. All right, so it's super, super cold, y'all. But what we're gonna do is just kind of press it out into a rough triangle. Not a big one. We're just gonna get a little one, just kind of get the dough, get started into the shape that we want. Now your dough, it's nice and cold, so it's a lot easier to, it's not sticking to you or anything like that. But we just want to press it out into a rough triangle. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Just like that. All right, so now I'm going to cover it with my saran wrap, and we're going to let it rest for 10 minutes. Now, while it's resting, you want to take your 9-inch Springform Pan and a large piece of parchment paper. I like to make a square of parchment paper. That's about it right there. I get it stripped off of there. And then we just want to ball it up just like that. And I kind of open it up and give it another squishing. It softens the paper, and it makes it much easier to put it in the pan. So with this paper, you just want to stretch it back out and then line your 9-inch Springform Pan. Now y'all, I will have links below for like the rolling pin, the Springform Pan, things like that are kind of not, not everybody may have those. Just like that, and just kind of press the sides around just to kind of fit it down in the pan really nicely, just like that. And then we're gonna finish out our 10-minute wait. I'm gonna get a glass of water, and we'll be right back and roll this dough. All right, guys, while my dough was resting, this is a really good time to go ahead and melt your butter. It's 28 grams of unsalted butter, melted and cooled. It's probably a little, like very slightly warm, which is okay. And then we have 1 tablespoon of flour, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 100 grams of sugar. And then we're gonna mix that all around. Now at this point right here, guys, if you have like a favorite jam that you like, you can put that in the middle, on top of your dough and create a roll that way. So there are other options. All right, so let's get it uncovered. What did I just drop? Oh, top to my pan. All right, now I'm gonna lay some flour out here on the counter because we'll be using it. You wanna dust your rolling pin really well. Make sure your dough is nice and floured. And we're going for a 16 by 12 triangle. So you always start in the middle, and then you just kind of push your dough out. I'm going to end up knocking that butter over. I just know it. Just keep working it from the side out. Now you will need like a measuring tape or a ruler or something to measure your dough. And the reason we're going to measure it is because we want nice big cinnamon rolls. So each one of them we're going to cut to a specific size, and they'll be super big and yummy. All right, that is sticking to the counter a little bit, so I'm going to throw some more flour out here. Roll it around. There we go. And you can feel the dough, like where it's thicker or thinner. I've got my one end a little bit thicker. Now this part, guys, mine normally turns out a little more rectangular than that. But, you know, I'm on camera. It's not supposed to go right. Here we go. It's starting to warm up a little bit and be a little more pliable. But see, if you didn't rest your dough and you just went right into trying to roll it, boy, you would have a struggle, that's for sure. That one end of my dough is kind of thick, and I want my cinnamon rolls to be as even as I can, so that's why I continue working it. Like I said, typically, I don't have to work this hard to get to a rectangle, but today we are, and that's okay. We're gonna get there. All right, now that looks a little bit bigger than 16 by 12. We can fix that. First, we're gonna measure. Oh yeah, I'm 18 3/4 by 13. Okay, so I just need to cut in some. Let's see. You can literally just kind of pull up your dough. And you see how I'm just creating a triangle. Why do I keep saying triangle? It's a rectangle. And guys, the reason I keep fussing over the rectangle is because when I roll it, I want a nice, long, even log. So, and you see how I'm just kind of pushing in the sides where you can make a nice triangle? It's just that simple. All right, that's looking pretty good. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, 16, Lordy mercy. Can't believe that happened. 16 by 12. All right. So next we're going to take our little pastry brush and we're just going to brush our butter on all over the dough. But we want to leave a 1/2 inch from the edge because that way we can seal the dough. Just paint, paint, paint. Did you ever want to learn how to paint? Like, you know, pictures? I love watercolors. I tried starting, because they say watercolors are really hard, but I started trying. I tried with oils and I can't draw. I can't. I'm creative in many ways, but that's not one of them. Now my husband's side of the family, wow, they are true painters. All right, there's that. All good. Now let's take our cinnamon sugar mixture And literally, guys, I dump it right in the middle. I don't do the sprinkling thing. That's just too much. You know, like sprinkle here, sprinkle there. No. There is enough cinnamon and sugar there that it is very easy to spread it, just like I'm doing here. Remember, clean counter, clean hands. And we're in good shape. Do you see all that? Yummy goodness. Yummy, yummy goodness. So next, we're going to roll up our rolls. So what you do, you just start right there in the middle, and I give it a couple of turns. Okay? Pinch it over and turn it. Pinch it over and turn it. Okay? And just keep working it all the way up and down the one side. All right, and then just keep, now when I kind of pull it back and then roll it to kind of tighten it, not much, but just a little bit, just to keep a nice tight roll. Now if you don't have a nice tight roll, you're going to end up with cinnamon rolls that are kind of open in the middle. They have space between the bread and the cinnamon sugar mixture. And I mean, even after they're baked, they'll do that. So we don't want that. We want a nice, even, beautiful cinnamon roll. And we'll just keep on. We'll just keep rolling. See how I'm working from one end to the other. The dough is still nice and cool. Now when you get to the other side, you see my rectangle wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but you know what? That just happens. And we're going to deal with it. It'll be delicious anyway. And I just kind of pull the sides up to me so that I can pinch it off right there. Just like that. Because you want to create a really good seal on each side of the dough there. Now you can see I'm a little wonky, but that's okay. And then I just roll it back and forth to help seal that side right there. And there we go. All right, so now I am going to measure one more time. At this end, you saw how it wasn't real square. So this is where I can kind of fix that. And I kind of just shake my dough, kind of, you know, see how I'm just kind of spreading it and fixing it. I don't know another word to say, how else to say it. I'm fixing it. So there we go. All right, we're at 16 inches. And I am going to bring my tape measure around to the other side here so I can see it, because we are going to take a little knife. That is not my little knife I wanted, but it'll work just fine. All right, so at every 2 inches, you want to lightly score the top. All right, now if you want to cut it with a knife, you can. There's nothing that says you have to do it this way. This is my preferred method. It gives a really nice clean cut. But you'll just lift your dough slightly, run your dental floss underneath, and then right there on where you scored it, you crisscross the dental floss and pull. And there you have it. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? And then we just add it to the pan. See how nice and tight the roll is? That's what you get when you fold and make sure you get a nice, you roll and pull and roll, just very gentle, but it's just enough to really close in that gap and have a nice filled, beautifully made cinnamon roll. So, all right, now our next step, y'all, we are going to put our cinnamon rolls in a nice warm place, okay? You don't want it hot. You don't want, if you're cooking, we don't want it beside the stove. That's too hot. That's too much heat on one side. So I'm going to put mine on the back porch because it's supposed to be 90 degrees here today and it's still humid, so it should rise really well. Now, for your home, just wherever a nice warm place is. You know, you don't want it in direct sunlight, but just a nice warm place. And we'll leave it for 1 to 2 hours. So that big difference like that will completely depend on how warm the area your cinnamon rolls are sitting in. So you just have to keep a watch. And all you want, we're looking for just like right now, it's nice cool dough. So it's going to have to reach the temperature of wherever it is. Like right now, it's colder than inside. It's 72 inside right now. So it will have to warm up to that temperature, and then it will start to grow. It will start to puff up, and that's what we're looking for. We doesn't have to be this big, huge rolls, you know, or anything like that, because when we put them in the oven, they're going to puff up even more. But I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get there. All right, guys, I've brought my rolls in from the back porch. They were out there for 2 hours. The oven has been preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to stick these in there and cook them for 35 to 40 minutes. Now, depending on if your oven runs hot or whatever, you need to check them about 25-30 minutes in and just see how they're doing. You may need to rotate them around and then just play it by ear, but typically about 35-40 minutes. Well, guys, there they are. Golden brown. They baked for 40 minutes. And they just look absolutely amazing. Now we're gonna set our timer again, and we're gonna let them cool in the pan for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna get our cream cheese frosting together. Now in the bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of softened butter, it's unsalted butter, and 1/3 cup of softened cream cheese. So we are just going to blend that together. If my thingy bobber will stay in there, well, I'll be doggone. Come on, dude. What's your problem, man? Have I got you in the right hole? Nope, that's the problem. It really does make a difference. All right, there we go. And then we're just gonna cream it together. And let's scrape down the sides to make sure everything gets well blended. Alright, and now we're going to add our powdered sugar. And I'm adding just a little at a time to keep it from flying all over the place. All right, now right here, this is where you can add more powdered sugar if you like. And my frosting is kind of yellow, and I'd like to be a little whiter, not wider. And this thing's just gonna be a pain. Okay, so I'm gonna get another 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And we'll put the whole thing in there this time. Hopefully I didn't do a bad thing and we end up covering the powdered sugar. I'm gonna stick it to the side, bring it in slow. All right, much better. All right, so our cinnamon rolls have cooled for 15 minutes. Our frosting is done. So now we're going to take them out of the pan and continue to let them cool some more. Look at that, y'all. Aren't they just gorgeous? Just absolutely beautiful. All right, now typically, depending on who's going to be eating these, typically I would go ahead and frost all of them. But I'm going to have to pull 2 out because I have grandchildren coming tonight, and they're the 2 that like the powdered sugar drizzle over the top. So the rest of these, we are going to throw on a slathering of cream cheese, frosting. Oh, yes ma'am. As we say in the South, this slap your mama good. And let me just tell you, we don't slap our mama. So, if it's that good that you slap your mama, that's some good stuff. That's a whole lot of frosting going on right there. Oh, yes, ma'am. Honey's going to be so excited when he comes home. Now, over here, I'm not going to put the powdered sugar on them yet because they'll need to cool all the way, because otherwise the powdered sugar will just melt right on top of them. But here they are. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, so good. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me here in the kitchen. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscribe button and give us a big old thumbs up. And if you ever have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you'd like the printable version of this recipe, just head on over to simplymadehomestead.com and you'll be able to find it and many other recipes there as well. All right, fall is here. We need some comfy fall recipes to cook, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.